Hey guys, and welcome to a new season of Honkai Star Rail's Memory of Chaos. This time our buff is called Stormquell, and it gives a character 50% increased attack for one turn if at the beginning of a turn they were above 80% HP. So naturally this is all about the healers. So having the newest character Luocha will of course give you an insane advantage, but he is not a necessity. Natasha is very helpful in here too. If you have, for example, Bailu as a secondary healer, that should totally be enough as well. Or even Shepard, who has insane shields. He might be able to prevent your characters from falling below 80% HP, but you definitely want to have a way of keeping your characters healthy here to make use of this attack boost. At the very least, you want to make sure that your DPS character is above 80% HP at the beginning of a turn, which also means that sometimes you might want to make sure that you delay your healing to the very end of your turn, to make sure that, basically at the start of the next turn, your guys are healthy enough to get that attack buff. Of course, that will not always be possible, but it is something to look out for. Besides his healing, Luocha has another very big advantage in these fights, and that is, well, we are still fighting these Xi and Zhou enemies that have a revival buff on them, and Luocha's ultimate is actually able to dispel a single buff from every single enemy on the field, which means that you will only have to kill these enemies once instead of twice, and that definitely helps a lot. If you do not own Luocha, that is not a problem. You can use Pella as a free-to-play option. She can also dispel a buff from an enemy with her skill. But even that is not a necessity. If you have good damage, you can make quick work of these ads. Keep in mind, the ads are not the real problem. The problem is the boss mob. The boss mob gets a pretty big lifesteal buff as long as there's at least one ad on his side of the field that has still their revival buff going. So you definitely want to make sure that you get rid of that lifesteal buff as soon as possible. Or maybe if you have a strong single target DPS character like Sailor, you might just be able to focus the boss down quickly enough for you to not even care about the lifesteal. So let's talk about my setup for this fight. You can see we are doing Memory of Chaos stage 9 here in the background. I'm using one of my favorite DPS combinations here, which is Qingyuan and Tingyuan. So we are mostly dealing AoE damage here, which means I don't really have to focus on, whatever I want to attack. We are basically killing everything at the same time evenly. Luocha is my healer for this team, because we talked about this before. This Memory of Chaos right now has basically been made for him. He's very good at healing. He's able to dispel debuffs on allies. He's able to remove buffs on enemies. He is just overall a very strong pick for this Memory of Chaos here. And then finally we are using March 7th here as a tanky support. She has been great overall for all of the Memory of Chaos before, so she's going to help me clear this one as well. The strong aspects are of course her shield, which is able to dispel a debuff on an ally. It is also able to increase the taunt value on a character that is above 30% HP. So most of the time I'm putting it on her to just make it more likely for her to be attacked by the enemies. And then of course finally her ultimate has insane value, because that has a very high chance of freezing the enemies, and you will see it work quite often here as well. Last but not least, she also provides a lot of break to the team because of her counter ability. So whenever a shielded ally is attacked by an enemy, March 7th is going to counter attack, and every single time that happens, you are going to remove some of that toughness gauge. So she's actually quite helpful in breaking enemies, and breaking enemies with ice is definitely one of the stronger options because of the freeze. So let us jump straight to the final wave of this battle now, where we are fighting one of these shapeshifters again, and also a Stormbringer. And here I'll be able to show you exactly how this team setup works. So the Stormbringer's charge move only locks on allies that have a wind shear debuff on them. Right now this is Luocha and March 7th, as you can see. But what you can do is you can just remove that wind shear debuff with, you know, for example, Luocha's heal with March 7th shield. You can just get rid of that debuff, and then what's going to happen is on the next turn of the Stormbringer, he's just going to fail. Like he's trying to find people with a wind shear on them, and he's gonna notice, oh shit, well, wait, there is no wind shear on them anymore, what the fuck? And then he's so confused that he just stops attacking. That's just how his brain works, apparently. With so many different sources of incoming damage, you definitely want to take a while and consider how you're going to approach here. Right now I'm trying to get Luocha's ultimate ready, there we go. And this is going to dispel all of the buffs on the enemies now. So we don't have to deal with any of the reviving or lifesteal bullshit. Of course, we also want to keep our shield on March up as long as possible, so she gets focused by the enemies. So the basic strategy here is to just have complete control over the buffs and debuffs. We always want to make sure that there is no wind shear debuff on our team, so this guy cannot deal any damage. And we also want to make sure that we always dispel the buffs on the enemies, especially when the ads spawn, so this guy doesn't get any lifesteal. And that's basically it. Of course, you also want to keep an eye on the toughness gauges of the enemies here. Whenever you see a chance of breaking it, you should do it, especially if you have, you know, like me, you have imaginary and ice to break them with. I don't really need to micromanage that too much, since both ice and imaginary are great elements to break gauges with. They both delay the enemy's turn in one way or another. Either they get frozen or they get imprisoned. Yeah, and I'd say you can definitely see the power of that right here. This fight is actually going to take a while, because, well, as much as I love Jing Yuan, he's just not as strong in single target damage as, for example, is Seele, or I guess for that matter, any hunt character. So yeah, it's gonna take a while, but that's also the reason why we have a strong healer with this group, and March, who is both a tank and also a support. So we are basically playing it safe in this first fight here. So let us skip right to the end of this first battle here. We've been fighting for a total amount of 13 cycles already, which means if we do want to get this 3-star reward, we have to hurry it up in the second battle. So now we have only 7 cycles left to get all of our rewards here. I'm going to engage this fight with Silverwolf because, well, she just basically breaks every single enemy here. She doesn't even care about any weaknesses. So the second battle here has a lot of enemies that are weak to Quantum, which of course Silverwolf and Sailor are going to love. I'm not even going to try and farm up my ultimates too much here at the beginning. I just want to get this done as quickly as possible. So I'm just using all I have. We don't really have too much time left. So let's just give our best. This is all about the speed. So Seele and Silverwolf, of course, an amazing duo for defeating Quantum weakness enemies. We are also using Natasha in this battle because, well, she's the only other healer I have, and as I said at the beginning, you definitely do want to have a way to keep your characters healthy in each one of your teams to make use of that attack buff that you get this time around. I am also using the Fire Trailblazer in this team to get a bit of shielding going. He also packs quite a punch with his ultimate and enhanced basic attack. And we have enemies that are weak to fire as well, so he seems like a good choice here. So main idea for this party, of course, is to make use of the insane single target DPS that we have. We want to use Silverwolf's ultimate on an enemy to get the defense shred going, and then we are just using Seele's tools to get that boss down as quickly as possible. Okay, so for the final wave in this fight, I would definitely recommend to take care of this guy on the right first. The Ice from Out of Space, I believe is his name. I know how menacing Cocolia is, alright guys? I know that, but trust me when I say that the Ice from Out of Space is definitely the more annoying mob here. That's because he just has a lot of freezing. I'm not sure if it's just because I was super unlucky, but he just kept freezing me so much. It was so annoying. It was so hard to deal with it. So I decided to go for him first. So we are making sure to break his gauge as quickly as possible, kill him as quickly as possible to get rid of this annoying freezing that he has. Yeah, speaking of, there you can see what I mean. It's just so terrible. Of course I can use Natasha's heal to get rid of one of the freezes, but yeah, you know, that after a while gets kind of skill point intensive if you have to keep doing that, especially for several characters at once. So yeah, that is the reason why I really want to focus on this guy on the right first. So yeah, for now we are just going to leave Cocolia alone. Hopefully she is not going to kill us with her AoE. Fire Trailblazer actually coming in handy here as well with all of his fire damage. Makes it a bit easier, a bit faster to break the gauges here. Living kind of on the edge right here, but I do know that the Ice from Out of Space is not going to use the AoE in his next turn. There we go, he's doing the absorption thing. Now we can heal a bit. And this should hopefully take care of my biggest worry here, which is this guy. Yep. Okay, and now we can just completely focus on Cocolia, which, well, isn't really too scary to be honest. I don't really see a way how she can beat us right now. So time-wise, I think we are also doing great. We still have 3 cycles more to go to beat this and get our 3-star victory. It's definitely possible with this team. You can see how much quicker this fight was than, you know, compared with the first team. It's because Silver Wolf has such insane defense degrees, and Zela of course has insane single target damage. So that really makes short work of these enemies. She summoned her little ice bodies here, but I don't think we really have to care about those, like at all. I think we can actually just out-tank that and completely focus on Cocolia. There's another complete attack boost for the whole team. Very nice. Yeah, I don't know if it was just like luck or bad luck in that case, I guess, but it really seemed to me like the Ice from Out of Space has a higher chance of freezing your characters than Cocolia has. She can obviously do it too, as you could just see, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe you guys had other experiences. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you did. But yeah, for now I'm going to assume that Cocolia has a lower chance to freeze you than the other thing. Okay, here come the final attacks. Almost done. Oh man, she deals a lot of damage. That's crazy. Okay, well that should be it. One more attack here. Actually, let's do Resurgence. Increase attack. Styling it. And that's how you do it. That is Memory of Chaos Stage 9. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stage 10 is coming soon.